Chapter 32:16. A Good Romance. BQG 6. Ling Han couldn't help but laugh. There's no rush to get married. Let me put down my luggage first. I'm sorry, young master. Huan Shui hurriedly got up and wiped her eyes, looking very wronged. What's wrong? Ling Han asked. Sob. Someone wants to marry Huan Shui as a concubine, but Huan Shui doesn't want to. The little maid cried again. A cold light flashed in Ling Han's eyes. Who is it? I think he's called Hu Qiu. The little maid racked her brains. Ling Han was speechless. Someone wants to marry you as a concubine, and you don't even remember the other party's name? Forget it, I'll go ask Mo Guohao. He found Mo Guohao to understand the situation. Mo Guohao was very clear about this, and told Ling Han about the entire sequence of events. Some time ago, Huan Shui successfully cultivated elementary mental power, which was accidentally discovered by Mo Guohao. Then, Mo Guohao was very excited and took the initiative to teach Huan Shui how to refine pills. There were too few people who had mental power, let alone to cultivate it to elementary level. Therefore, Mo Guohao naturally felt like he had obtained a treasure. But for some reason, Hu Xiao of the Hu family, one of the 6 great clans, came here and even met Huan Shui. Not Hu Qiu, but Hu Xiao. An 18 or 19-year-old with 9 meridians, who cultivated elementary mental power, was a future alchemist, and was actually very beautiful. Hu Xiao couldn't take his eyes off such a woman after seeing her. Marrying her back to the family would definitely be a big profit. Therefore, he didn't care that he already had 7 concubines, and immediately stated that he wanted to take Huan Shui as his 8th concubine. If this wasn't the Merciful Heart Medicine Hall, Hu Xiao would have already sent people to snatch Huan Shui back. But this wasn't a solution. She couldn't stay in the Merciful Heart Medicine Hall for the rest of her life. Haha, how lawless, Ling Han said coldly. The Hu family was only a blood transformation realm force, and they actually dared to marry. He wanted to see if Hu Xiao really dared to kidnap someone. Thank you. Ling Han nodded. Mo Guohao had kept his promise and had been taking care of the little handmaiden on his behalf. Mo Guohao also nodded. To him, this was just a small matter. It was a small favor that didn't cost him anything. Naturally, he didn't mind doing Ling Han a favor. I want to learn some more pill recipes, Ling Han said. Mo Guohao's eyes lit up. Ling Han had learned the meridian probing pill and the secret energy pill, and in the end, he was able to come up with an improved version very quickly. Now that he was learning something new, wouldn't he be able to advance his alchemy level by a large margin? Little friend, feel free to choose. Mo Guohao took out his optical computer and showed Ling Han the pill recipes he had collected. Ling Han had seen them before, but he hadn't looked at the blood transformation realm. At that time, he hadn't needed them. But now, meridian opening realm medicinal pills had no effect on him. He scanned through and found that there were only 3 types of blood transformation realm medicinal pills. They were the energy recovery pill that could recover mystic energy, the 100 transformations pill that could cure poison, and the berserker pill that could boil one's blood qi. The energy recovery pill's use was the most common. There was a limit to one's strength. If one fought to exhaustion, then no matter how high one's realm or strength was, it would all be useless. This energy recovery pill could replenish mystic energy, and was very practical in battle. The 100 transformations pill's name was exaggerated. In reality, it could only cure about 37 types of poison. The berserker pill could only be used as a last resort. This was because it could boil one's blood qi a second time, but the consequences were very serious. There was a possibility of injury, disability, and even death. So unless they were in a desperate situation, no blood transformation realm cultivator would eat it. Ling Han thought about it and memorized the 3 pill recipes. To an alchemy emperor, this was a small matter. Are there no pills like the secret energy pill and the meridian probing pill that can speed up cultivation and increase the success rate of advancement? Ling Han asked. Mo Guohao shook his head. Although I know the pill recipes and can also refine them, the Alchemist Guild has strict rules. I definitely can't leak the pill recipes to outsiders, or both you and I will suffer. In other words, if I want to obtain pill recipes, I can only join the Alchemist Guild, asked Ling Han. Yes. Mo Guahao nodded. Ling Han thought about it and said, all right, then let's go to the Alchemist Guild to take a look. He didn't mind going there and taking in a large group of subordinates. There's no time like the present. Mo Guahao looked at Ling Han. All right. The two of them left. With Mo Guahao's status and identity, he naturally had his own car and chauffeur. The two of them quickly arrived at the Alchemist Guild. Mo Guahao was a mid-rank alchemist, so when he brought Ling Han in, no one dared to stop them. Instead, they had to respectfully greet them. Make the arrangements. This young friend is going to be certified as an alchemist, said Mo Guahao. Yes. 3 low-rank alchemists quickly arrived. Greetings, Lord Mo. The 3 low-rank alchemists bowed respectfully to Mo Guahao. Mo Guahao was a mid-rank alchemist, and he had recently made outstanding contributions to the alchemy Dao, so he naturally earned their respect. Name. One of the low-rank alchemists asked Ling Han. Ling Han said casually. It can't be that Ling Han, right? The second low-rank alchemist exclaimed. The Ling Han who defeated Tuoba Tianhuang. Originally, alchemists wouldn't care about the matters of martial art, but Tuoba Tianhuang was really too famous. Not only was he famous in the martial art world, he was also quite popular in the alchemy and array Dao worlds. Basking in Tuoba Tianhuang's glory, Ling Han's name also began to spread in the alchemy and array Dao worlds. It's him. I've seen his photo before, the third low-rank alchemist said. The 3 of them were all shocked. They didn't expect that the number 1 person in the martial art world would actually come to be certified as an alchemist. What alchemical pill do you want to refine? The first alchemist asked. Pulse-probing pill. Ling Han was very casual. Then, prepare the materials, and we'll begin. To be certified as a low-rank alchemist, one would need to prepare their own materials. Only after becoming a low-rank alchemist could the Alchemy Master Association provide the materials for certification as a mid-rank alchemist and high-rank alchemist. Otherwise, if they had to provide a set of materials for each person who came to be certified as a low-rank alchemist, even the wealthy Alchemy Master Association wouldn't be able to afford such extravagance. Ling Han set up the array and began to refine pills. After throwing down a set of materials, he thought that since he had nothing to do, he might as well refine a few more cauldrons. In any case, the pills he refined would be his, so he could just treat it as earning some extra income. Thus, he threw another set of materials into the array. Pu. The 3 low-rank alchemists choked at the same time. What kind of situation was this? He didn't even know how many materials were needed to refine a cauldron of pills, and he still wanted to be certified as an alchemist. What kind of joke was this? However, this was just the beginning. Ling Han threw another set of materials into the array, and then another set. A total of 4 sets. Even Mo Guahao began to wipe off his cold sweat. He naturally believed in Ling Han's alchemy abilities, but he still couldn't play around like this, right? Sigh, he could only try again in a few days. Yee! Why hadn't the cauldron exploded yet? Mo Guahao was shocked. Based on Ling Han's nonsense, the 4 sets of materials should have immediately turned into ashes. Why was he still in the state of refinement now? Reading on the phone was more refreshing. Chapter 32:17. A Good Story. BQG 6. Ceci not only Mo Guahao, but the other 3 primary alchemists also gaped in shock. F***CK, what did they just see? One person refining 4 cauldrons of pills at the same time? How the hell did you control it? 4 tasks at once. F***CK, F***CK, F***CK. They really couldn't believe what they saw, and felt that there must be something wrong with their eyes. Otherwise, their outlook on life and the world would be destroyed. However, the scene before them continuously reminded them that this was incomparably real. Just like that, the 4 of them stared blankly for a whole 2 hours, and finally saw Ling Han successfully refine 4 cauldrons of pulse-probing pills, a total of 17 pills. Only now did Mo Guahao understand why Ling Han was able to provide so many alchemical pills in such a short period of time. It was not that Ling Han had reached a 100% success rate, Nor was it because he was continuously concocting alchemical pills day and night. Rather, it was because this guy could concoct 4 furnaces in one go. Any alchemist who saw this would kneel down and sing conquered. Refining 4 cauldrons at once, and every cauldron was successful. Moreover, the lowest was 4 pills. If it's pulse-probing pills, he can only refine 3 to 5 pills at once. This monster, yes, monster. The 3 primary alchemists all nodded in agreement with the word monster. Since the materials were correct, and the cauldrons didn't explode, then the pills refined were definitely pulse-probing pills. The only problem was the quality of the pills. From the results, that meant that Ling Han had successfully passed the test, and he was already a primary alchemist. My horizons have been broadened today. If this was told to others, who would believe it? The 3 of them looked at each other, and could see the negative answer in each other's eyes. If someone told them that someone could refine 4 cauldrons of pills at once and succeed in all of them, they would definitely think that person was crazy. Do you need to check? Ling Han asked, smiling. No need. The 3 primary alchemists all shook their heads. All right, then I want to continue to be certified as a middle-rank alchemist. Ling Han said. He wanted to obtain middle-rank pill recipes from the Alchemist Association, so he naturally had to become a middle-rank alchemist first. Previously, he had seen Mo Guohao's 3 middle-rank pill recipes, and was already very confident. Ah! Mo Guohao exclaimed. He was very clear that Ling Han had just obtained a middle-rank pill recipe. Are you trying to defy the heavens? The 3 low-rank alchemists were also stunned. They had never seen such a situation before. Someone had just been certified as a low-rank alchemist, and was immediately going to be certified as a middle-rank alchemist. However, the certification of an alchemist's level was everyone's freedom, and they could not interfere. Hold on. They were unable to host this kind of certification, so they hurriedly went to invite other mid-level alchemists. In Hidden Tiger City, there were only a total of 9 middle-rank alchemists. As for Mo Guohao, because he was Ling Han's introducer, he could not be a member of the certification staff. Thus, he needed to find 3 other middle-rank alchemists. Ling Han was relatively lucky. Because the middle-rank alchemists were extremely busy, they spent all day researching pill formulas. Normally, there would only be 1 or 2 of them standing guard here, but today, there were actually 4 of them. Hearing that someone was going to be certified as a middle-rank alchemist, the entire alchemist society was in an uproar, and they all rushed over to watch. Ling Han chose to refine the 100 transformation pill. Soon, the materials he needed were sent over, as well as the corresponding array foundation. Really? He just passed the low-rank alchemy master certification, and is already aiming for the middle-rank alchemy master certification? Does this guy think he can come and go as he pleases? Although we can conduct certification at any time, we only have 1 chance to use the materials for free every year. If you want to be certified at other times, you have to prepare your own materials. He wasted a chance just like that. Sigh, I can only say that he's too young. The surrounding crowd was all discussing in low voices, so as not to affect Ling Han. Ling Han set up the array and then used his mental power to guide it. Instantly, the array began to operate. This kind of array used the jade seed as its energy source, so it did not need to borrow the power of heaven and earth. However, the consumption of the jade seed was also very high. Ling Han did not waste any time and immediately began to refine the pill. Middle-rank alchemy pill, a piece of cake. Although it was his first time refining, it was very easy and leisurely. This was really too simple. Then, he nimbly controlled the array, changing the intensity of the energy. The timing of the materials was also just right. It was as if refining the pill was just building blocks, extremely simple. Time passed very quickly, and 2 hours were almost over. The furnace had not exploded yet. No matter what the crowd's previous feelings were, there was only shock now. There was going to be another middle-grade alchemist, and this person was not even a low-grade alchemist 2 hours ago. Moreover, this guy was the number 1 in martial art among the younger generation, and he was not even 20. Heavens, was there really such a genius in the world? The young people were jealous and envious, but the old alchemists were all deeply moved. How much time did they spend to become low and middle grade alchemists? There was no way to compare. 2 hours passed, and 3 pills were seen floating in the center of the array. Success. Without needing to test the pills, everyone could be sure that they were 100 transformations pills. Hidden Tiger City's 10th middle grade alchemist, Ling Han. Congratulations, Brother Ling Mo Guohao was the first to speak. He also changed the way he addressed Ling Han in time. When alchemists talked, they only talked about rank, not age. In reality, this was also applicable in the fields of martial art and array Dao. As the saying went, age did not matter in learning, only the capable could be the teacher. Congratulations, Brother Ling. The other 3 middle grade alchemists also cupped their fists. Congratulations, Senior Ling. The low grade alchemists and apprentices were even more respectful. No matter how jealous they were, they had to lower their heads now. This was destined to be recorded in history. Such a young middle grade alchemist. Ling Han nodded and said, "Don't spread the news about me." Yes. Everyone nodded, though they felt it was strange. Can I look through the pill recipes to my heart's content now? Ling Han asked. Everyone was dumbfounded. What was going on? He had finally become a middle grade alchemist, so he should be complacently accepting everyone's worship. Why did he want to look at pill recipes now? He could look at pill recipes at any time, but it had to be on such an important day. But Ling Han insisted, so what could the others do? Ling Han quickly obtained almost all the middle grade pill recipes, but there were 3 pill recipes that were classified. One needed to make a great contribution to the Alchemist Society, or be a member of the society for a certain number of years before they could be unlocked. Of course, if one could go one step further and become a high-grade alchemist, then there would be no more restrictions. Middle-grade pill recipes could definitely be browsed at will. High-grade alchemist. Let's see what conditions are needed to concoct high-grade pills. Ling Han took a look. Though alchemists also needed spiritual energy, the requirements were far lower than array Dao. Thus, as long as one's spiritual energy barely reached the middle grade, they could concoct high-grade pills. However, the Alchemist Society here only has 2 recipes for high-grade alchemists. One is the phaseless pill, and the other is the burning flame pill. It's not difficult to concoct them. Reading on mobile phones is more refreshing. Chapter 32:18. A Good Romance. BQG 6. Ling Han looked at it carefully and then simulated the scene of alchemy in his mind. After reading it twice, he came to a conclusion. He ran out, found Mo Guohao, and said, "Help me apply, I want to be certified as a high-grade alchemist." Mo Guohao was still wondering whether or not Ling Han had improved some kind of mid-grade pill formula. He was filled with excitement, and wanted to witness such a historical moment. But as soon as Ling Han spoke, he almost fell to his knees. "You still want to be certified as a high-grade alchemist? Just a few glances at the pill recipe? Isn't this a little too much?" But thinking of Ling Han's frightening alchemy ability, refining 4 cauldrons of pulse-probing pills in one go, was this something that a high-grade alchemist could do? So, it's understandable that he's a monster, right? Is this guy's limit the master level? I'll arrange it for you right away. Mo Guohao nodded and quickly left. Although he didn't dare to believe it, he wanted to see a miracle. Ling Han was indeed a man who could create miracles. Very soon, the president of Hidden Tiger City's Alchemy Society was invited out. His name was Lu Jin, and he was the only high-grade alchemist in Hidden Tiger City. Thus, if Ling Han wanted to advance to become a high-grade alchemist, he had to watch from the side. That was the rule. Lu Jin looked incomparably old, with a head full of white hair. Before he even got close, a strong smell of medicine could be smelled. "Greetings, Master Lu." Everyone bowed in greeting. Only Ling Han stood proudly. In the field of alchemy, there was probably no one who could be his master, at least not Lu Jin. Ling Han only nodded slightly, and greeted him with the courtesy of an equal. Everyone was astonished. This guy had not even passed the certification, yet he was already treating himself as a high-grade alchemist. Think about it. What if you don't pass? Ling Han intended to refine the phaseless pill. Because it was a high-grade pill, The materials needed were much more precious. Some of them even required the signatures of several deacons before he could open the storeroom to collect them. Therefore, it was a bit time-consuming. Lu Jin looked at Ling Han and sighed deeply in his heart. This kid is really young. When he was her age, he was probably still an apprentice who was training his spiritual force, right? But what about him? He was already a middle-rank alchemist, and was in the midst of breaking through to become a high-rank alchemist. It was impossible to compare oneself to others. After a while, all the materials were ready. This time, there were actually fewer spectators. That was because Lu Jin had purposely controlled the spread of news. Only primary alchemists were qualified to attend. Thus, there were only over 30 people present. No one dared to breathe loudly, for fear of affecting Ling Han. Ling Han, on the other hand, was indifferent. Whether it was a beginner or an advanced one, in his opinion, there was not much of a difference. He just needed to be a little more serious. Let's begin. He laid down the foundation of the formation, and then used his mental power to guide it. Hong, the jade seed began to burn, turning into raging energy. Ling Han waited, and when the heat was right, he threw out the first medicinal ingredient. After a while, he threw in the second type, and then the third type. When the time was right, he took back the medicinal body that had already turned into liquid and put in new medicinal materials to begin the refinement. At the same time, he was also controlling the formation, adjusting the amount of energy output to an extremely precise degree. As a former Empyrean, Ling Han's control over his power and psyche power was unmatched by anyone here. Moreover, he was the Alchemy Emperor, and had outstanding ability in alchemy. It can't be. The furnace hasn't exploded up until now. Just how precise is his control over the formation? This first medicinal liquid is golden and clear, just as described in the pill recipe. Hiss, which means that up until now, everything has been smooth sailing for him. What a terrifying young man. No, this is a future Grandmaster of Alchemy. Previously, many primary alchemists had been jealous of Ling Han, but now, they were no longer jealous. There was only intense admiration. When one's achievements were too high, then others would not be jealous. Perhaps they would be envious, and what remained was only admiration. Ling Han had instantly rushed to a height that they could only look up to, causing even their jealousy to disappear. The second medicinal liquid, the third medicinal liquid, and then they were combined, and new medicinal materials were added. When almost 2 hours had passed, Ling Han did not add any new medicinal materials, because he had already used up all of them. This was the most crucial moment, when the liquid would condense into a pill. One careless mistake, and all previous efforts would be wasted. Everyone held their breath involuntarily. Were they going to witness a miracle? A high-level alchemist. There had never been one in Hidden Tiger City. Lu Jin had been sent here directly by the capital's Alchemy Association, and he was already a high-level alchemist when he arrived. Even Lu Jin was slightly nervous. There were only 42 high-level alchemists in the entire Black North country. Was it going to become 43 from today onwards? This was going to shake the world. Time passed second by second, and the medicinal liquid rapidly condensed into a pill, showing no signs of turning to ash. It was going to succeed, it was really going to succeed. Another 2 minutes passed, and Ling Han called it a day. Xiao, 3 medicinal pills flew out and landed in Ling Han's hand. Congratulations, Grandmaster Ling. Instantly, everyone bowed and performed the alchemy etiquette of greeting an elder. Even Mo Guahao was no exception. This was a world with extremely strict hierarchy. Martial art was like that, formations were like that, and alchemy was like that. Ling Han clenched his teeth internally. These medicinal pills had just come out of the furnace, and they were so hot. There was nothing he could do about it. He had only cultivated strength, and his resistance against heat and cold was not very strong. However, his momentum was at its peak. If he suddenly threw out the medicinal pills in his hand, wouldn't that be very damaging to his image? Thus, Ling Han could only forcefully endure the burning sensation, nod at the crowd, and wave his hand. Grandmaster Ling, you've really surprised this old man. Lu Jin walked over, the shock on his face still not receding. He had truly witnessed a miracle. "Thank you for your praise," Ling Han said with a smile. "Right, isn't your hand hot?" Lu Jin asked in a small voice. "Hot. He, come, store it in the pill bottle. This old man will have a good chat with you." The old and the young left, and the crowd could only watch them leave. These two were now the big bosses of alchemy in Hidden Tiger City, and the others could only look up to them. Lu Jin and Ling Han talked for a long time, mostly about the Alchemy Association. As a high-level alchemist, what rights could one enjoy, and what duties one had to fulfill. Half a day later, Ling Han finally left. He had now obtained all the rights in this place, and could browse any pill recipe he wanted. In addition, he could enjoy a 50% discount when purchasing ingredients. Moreover, the Alchemy Association could also sell medicinal pills on his behalf, and only charge a 10% commission. Ling Han also obtained a miniature optical computer that could be worn on his wrist. It could be used as a watch during normal times, and it could even be used as a torch in dark places. It was very practical and convenient. He turned on the optical computer and browsed through the pill recipes that had previously been restricted to him. Blood replenishing pill, can replenish qi and blood, and is suitable for breaking through to the blood transformation realm. Phone reading is more refreshing. Chapter 3220. A Good Romance. BQG 6. Ling Han looked at Zhong Yangbi with an indescribably strange expression. Hurry up and get angry out of humiliation and attack. Zhong Yangbi felt a bit of a headache. Why was Ling Han's reaction so different from what he had expected? What kind of expression is that? Could it be that you can bear to be a green turtle? Ling Han shook his head. I've seen many people who seek death, but someone like you is probably the first. You can be called a death expert. You. Zhong Yangbi pointed at Ling Han, anger written all over his face. You're trying to provoke me into killing you, aren't you? Ling Han laughed. And your wishful thinking is that I'll lose control and attack on the spot. Then, I'll be killed by the Alchemy Association's experts, right? F***ck, how did he see through me? Then do you plan to be a turtle? Zhong Yangbi asked, walking further and further down the path of seeking death. Ling Han smiled. Why do I say you're seeking death? It's because you don't even know what trump card I have, yet you jumped out to provoke me. What trump card do you have? Zhong Yangbi sneered. I don't know why Master values you so much, but if you want to attack here, no one can save you. Do you dare? He was trying to provoke Ling Han. Ling Han patted Zhong Yangbi's shoulder and said, Don't worry, I'll definitely kill you. After all, you're so bold. If I don't kill you, it'll be a waste of your efforts. Zhong Yangbi was stunned. What did that mean? Ling Han clearly knew his intentions, yet he still wanted to kill him. Why the hell was he telling him this? This guy said he wanted to kill him. Didn't he fall right into his trap? Why couldn't he be happy? Why did he feel like something was wrong? He looked at Ling Han, feeling as if he had just met this young man. Ling Han smiled, and said, You must find it very strange that I still dared to kill you even though I clearly knew about your scheme, am I right? Zhong Yangbi nodded subconsciously. He was really strange. Ling Han raised his hand and slapped him across the face. With his strength, how could Zhong Yangbi dodge? This slap was solid and 3 of Zhong Yangbi's teeth immediately flew out. I forgot to tell you. What I hate the most is when people point their fingers at me. It makes me very unhappy, Ling Han said indifferently. Zhong Yangbi touched his cheek and felt a burning pain. He finally realized that something was wrong. They had already caused such a ruckus at the gate. Why hadn't anyone stepped forward to stop them? In that case, if Ling Han were to kill someone, no one would stop him. F***ck, he didn't want to lose his life just to kill Ling Han. Strange, isn't it? Why is it that everyone's just watching, but no one's shouting at you to stop your death-seeking behavior? Ling Han smiled and said to the crowd, Come, tell this young alchemist who I am. Greetings, Grandmaster Ling. Instantly, the alchemists at the entrance, including the guards, all bowed respectfully to Ling Han. Zhong Yangbi was stunned. Grandmaster? What Grandmaster? Whether it was the alchemy world or the array world, only high-grade and grandmaster alchemists and array masters had the qualifications to be called grandmasters. Could he be a high-grade array master? Impossible. He was so young and might not even be a beginner array master, let alone a high-grade one. Wait, even if Ling Han was a high-grade array master, why did the people of the Alchemy Association have to bow to him? Hiss. His eyes widened slightly and his face was filled with disbelief. You guessed correctly. Ling Han nodded. I am a new high-grade alchemist of the Alchemy Association. According to the rules, you should call me Grandmaster. Grandmaster, Grandmaster, Grandmaster Zhong Yangbi's heart was filled with 10,000 thoughts. His mouth was so wide open that it could fit a fist. A vulgar person from the world of martial art had actually become the king of the world of alchemy. How could he believe it? But what was the use of not believing it? Didn't he see the reactions of the others? Could this be an act? It was over. He actually flaunted his prowess in front of a high-grade alchemist and did such a despicable thing. He was courting death. No wonder Ling Han's expression was so strange just now. Ling, Grandmaster Ling, he said with a trembling voice. Not just his voice, but his whole body was trembling. Ling Han smiled slightly. Was it fun? It wasn't fun at all. Zhong Yangbi finally realized that he was the one who had been tricked. A mere beginner alchemist challenging a high-grade alchemist in the Alchemy Association was just courting death. Ling Han had purposely not revealed his identity. Clearly, he had purposely dug a pit for him to jump into. The stupidest thing was that he had actually jumped into the pit. Grandmaster Ling, please show mercy and spare me this once. Zhong Yangbi knelt down and kowtowed continuously. Ling Han shook his head. What you're saying is really too unconvincing. Weren't you trying to provoke me to kill you just now? If I don't kill you, wouldn't all your previous efforts be in vain? I'd rather be blind. Zhong Yangbi was about to cry. How could he have imagined that a person younger than him could actually become a high-grade alchemist? No one could have imagined this, right? Do you regret it? Ling Han asked. Yes. Zhong Yangbi nodded. Unfortunately, even if you regret it, you can't change the evil you've done. Ling Han shook his head. If you were just jealous, then I wouldn't care, but you actually used such a vicious method to harm others. How could I forgive you? No. Zhong Yangbi realized that something was wrong and hurriedly turned to run. He didn't want anything else. He wanted to escape from Hidden Tiger City. Bang! A huge force crushed over, and he couldn't help but fall to the ground. He felt as if his entire body had been split into pieces, and he couldn't move a finger at all. He looked around, only to see that everyone had a pitiful and indifferent expression on their faces. Then, they quickly looked away from his body. Why should they care about a dead person? Zhong Yangbi only felt that breathing was getting more and more difficult. He forced himself to turn around to look at Ling Han, but he only saw a blur. Then, he lowered his head, and his breathing stopped. Ling Han looked around and said, "Report this matter to the Internal Affairs Department. Let them handle it as they should." Yes. Everyone hurriedly said. How to handle it? To say nothing of the fact that this matter was Zhong Yangbi's fault, even if Ling Han killed Zhong Yangbi for no reason, what could the Alchemist Society do to him? Such a young alchemist had a limitless future. For this reason, they would at most restrict Ling Han's range of activities, but they definitely wouldn't punish him. In other words, Zhong Yangbi had died in vain. Who asked him to do it himself? Why did he have to provoke a high-grade alchemist? Thinking about it, he actually tried to make a high-grade alchemist wear a green hat. If he didn't die, who would? Ling Han swaggered off. He also hadn't expected that the grudge between him and Zhong Yangbi would come to an end like this. He first went to the black-green flag and told them about the possible changes in Hidden Tiger City. Then, he went to find Sun Jianfang and gave him a blood-replenishing pill. Reading on a mobile phone is more refreshing. Chapter 32-21. A Good Romance. BQG 6. Cece's Sun Jianfang was filled with emotion. Back then, he had only decided to nurture Ling Han for the sake of the ancient Dao sect's future. He hadn't expected that this act of kindness would bring him such great benefits. Before, Sun Jianfang had only eaten 7 blood-replenishing pills, and because of this, he owed Hidden Tiger City a huge favor. This was because the blood-replenishing pill could only be refined by a mid-rank alchemist, and the ingredients were precious. The success rate was also extremely low. 7 blood-replenishing pills could be said to be priceless and incomparably precious. Some people had suffered heavy injuries when trying to break through to the blood transformation realm, and without the blood-replenishing pill to recover, they would never be able to break through to the blood transformation realm or advance further. But now, with the blood-replenishing pill in hand, Sun Jianfang had the confidence to break through to the second and third transformations. Even if he failed, it wasn't as if he didn't have another chance. Ling Han, you're very considerate. He patted Ling Han's shoulder. Ling Han smiled slightly. This was his personality. If someone treated him well, he would repay them tenfold, and if someone had ill intentions towards him, he would repay them tenfold, or even 100-fold. He chatted with Sun Jianfang for a while, then left. After dealing with Zhong Yangbi, his heart seemed to have been enlightened, and he could faintly sense the existence of the 7th hidden meridian. He had to immediately go into seclusion and seize this rare opportunity to open the 7th hidden meridian as soon as possible. Without the blood transformation realm, no matter how powerful he would always be restricted by his realm, and some abilities would not be able to be used. He didn't go to the Benevolent Heart Medicinal Hall, but instead returned to the Alchemist Society. To him, this was the safest place. As expected, his senses were not wrong. In just 3 hours, he had clearly felt the 7th hidden meridian. Using the Spirit Gathering formation, he began to open this meridian. Right now, the Spirit Gathering formation was of little help to him, but Ling Han didn't want to waste this hard-earned comprehension. What if he slept and couldn't sense it the next morning? He spent almost an entire night's time, and finally opened the initial stage of the 7th hidden meridian. Now, even if he slept for a few days and nights, he wouldn't have to worry about not being able to sense the 7th hidden meridian when he woke up. Early the next morning, Ling Han first used the time when the sun had just risen to cultivate for half an hour. Then, he went to pick up the little maid. If he wanted to use the tyrant array, there might be some overflow, so he could not waste it. He was surprised to find that his little handmaiden had advanced again. 10 meridians even in Xianbei country, this kind of advancement speed was incomparably shocking. But who asked her to have a good master who was not only generous, but also the Alchemy Emperor? The two of them arrived at the Alchemist Guild. Ling Han set up a nouveau riche formation and began to cultivate. Half a day later, he was at the peak of 19 meridians. If I can open another meridian, I will have the qualifications to break through to the blood-changing realm. Ling Han took out the Phoenix King Jade fruit that he had obtained previously. When it was on the branch, it was red, but now it was green, as if it was carved from jade. We'll be able to eat it soon. He put away the treasure fruit and began to ponder in his heart. Killing Zhong Yangbi made him feel very refreshed. In an instant, he was enlightened and could sense the 7th hidden meridian. Then, could he kill Yang Jun? Maybe he could open another hidden meridian, and at the same time, sense the 8th hidden meridian as well. He could not help but feel his heart palpitate. It was really irresistible. But before he could make a decision, Mo Guahao suddenly came to visit. Ling Han let the little maid invite him in. When Mo Guahao saw him, he immediately bowed respectfully. My sinful disciple has offended Master Ling. I have not disciplined him well. I have specially come to ask for forgiveness. Ling Han waved his hand and said, this has nothing to do with you. You don't have to force it on yourself. Thank you, Master. Mo Guahao hurriedly thanked him. When he found out about Zhong Yangbi's stupidity, he broke out in cold sweat. He was afraid that Ling Han would also bear a grudge against him. Luckily, Ling Han was a very reasonable person. He said a bunch of nonsense, expressed his apologies again, and finally left. Ling Han thought of Yang Jun's matter again. Without a very good opportunity, how could he kill Yang Jun? Even if he was a Grandmaster of Alchemy, if he killed an array master without rhyme or reason, even if he would not be sentenced to death, he would definitely have his freedom restricted and be locked up for a few years. He would have to desperately refine pills to make up for it. What Ling Han liked was alchemy Dao and exploring that unknown domain of alchemy Dao. If he had to blindly and monotonously refine medicinal pills that he had already learned long ago, he would go crazy. Therefore, he still had to find an opportunity. It would be best if Yang Jun also courted his own death like Zhong Yangbi. Speaking of which, it's actually still because my strength is not strong enough. Otherwise, even if I killed Yang Jun, so what? Who could and dared to do anything to me? Ling Han saw it very clearly. In this world, strength determined everything. No matter how awesome alchemy masters and array masters were, that status was still given by martial artists. Of course, array masters were a little better, because awesome array masters similarly possessed powerful battle prowess. Once a killing array was unleashed, it could massacre a city and destroy a country. From a certain perspective, array masters might be even stronger than martial artists. One more thing. What exactly will Hidden Tiger City encounter? Looking at Cha Deyuan's expression when he said those words, it was obvious that he was not trying to scare me. Sigh, this guy died too quickly. He didn't even say any useful information. Ling Han put it down first, and went to sense the last hidden vein. He desired strength so that he would not have to bow down to others, and would also be able to allow the Empress and the others to come out earlier. The matter of Zhong Yangbi being killed did not spread, because this was an internal scandal of the Alchemist Society, so there was naturally no need to spread it around. And the matter of Ling Han's newly advanced high-level alchemist similarly did not spread, because his identity badge needed to be made and verified by the main Alchemist Society of Monarch tier. It could not be completed in a short period of time. Thus, the Alchemist Society had to wait for the confirmation from the main Alchemist Society before announcing Ling Han's identity. Ling Han cultivated for a few days, but made no progress at all. This final step was not an easy thing to take. No, he could not be hasty. The greatest taboo in cultivation was to be overly hasty. One had to know that more haste, less speed. A terrifying chill suddenly rose from the bottom of his heart. Ling Han suddenly turned around, only to see that a small old man had appeared in the room at some point. He had a protruding mouth and monkey-like cheeks, and was currently looking left and right. An expert, extremely powerful, practically terrifying. Ling Han was shocked. The Alchemist Society was protected by formations, and ordinary people would definitely not be able to barge in. And if the other party was a guest, then someone should have reported to him. I've been discovered just like that. The small old man's eyes met Ling Han's, and he could not help but grin. Ling Han also smiled, and said, "Senior has suddenly come to visit, and this one has not gone out to welcome you. Please forgive me." The small old man was surprised, and said, "You actually don't find it strange to suddenly see this old man appear in the room? Then forgive this one for being curious, but why has Senior come?" Ling Han asked. "Ha ha ha. This little friend is a bit interesting." The small old man laughed loudly. Reading on a mobile phone is more refreshing. Chapter 32-22. A Beautiful Romance. BQG 6. The old man clasped his hands behind his back and circled around Ling Han. "I came this time to retrieve the Blood God Crystal, and to kill you." Ling Han was startled. It was that mysterious power again. Their reaction was really fast. Cha Deyuan hadn't been dead for long. He was sure that this monk-like old man in front of him had unfathomable strength. He was definitely not at the blood transformation realm, but at least at the extreme bone realm. If he fought, he would definitely die. However, the old man didn't attack immediately, giving him a sliver of hope. He definitely had to prepare some powerful seal soldiers in the future. He didn't care how expensive they were. This feeling of being trampled upon was too terrible. Weren't you going to cry for help?" asked the old man curiously. Ling Han shook his head. "With Senior's strength, you can kill me with a single thought. What's the point of crying for help?" "Ha ha ha, you're really interesting." The old man laughed. "Originally, I really did want to kill you and leave. To make me personally act to kill a puny opening meridian, isn't that just giving me trouble? That's why I really hate you. On the way here, I already thought of all kinds of ways to kill you. However, I found you in the Alchemy Association, which made me feel a bit strange. So I went to ask around and found that you're actually a high-rank alchemist. Looking at all the alchemists in the Empire, no matter how talented they have to be over 60 before they have any hope of becoming a high-rank alchemist. Wouldn't it be a pity to kill such a talent? Ling Han laughed. Many thanks for Senior's discerning eyes. The old man chuckled. My master has the talent to rule the world. In the future, he will soar into the universe and rule over the world. I cherish talent, and my master also loves talent. So I've decided to give you a chance. What chance? Asked Ling Han with a smile. Submit to my master, said the old man. I can make the decision to give you that blood god crystal. Ling Han thought about it and said, then what should I do? Ha, for the time being, you stay here. The little old man took out a bottle from his bosom and threw it towards Ling Han. Take the medicine inside. Ling Han opened the bottle and poured out a yellow-colored alchemical pill. There was only one pill, and it had a slightly sweet aroma. This is called the soul-separating pill. The little old man said, after taking it, the medicine will only take effect a year later. But don't worry, as long as you work hard for the Lord, there will naturally be an antidote for you every year. And as long as you are loyal, it won't be difficult to obtain a permanent antidote. Of course, if you don't behave, you will die miserably, very miserably. Ling Han did not hesitate in the slightest, and immediately swallowed the alchemical pill. He had no other choice. If he did not take the medicine, he would be killed by the little old man immediately. If it was poison, Ling Han was not afraid. As the alchemy emperor, could he not find the antidote within a year? Very decisive. I admire you. The little old man smiled. Wait for my orders first. There is nothing for you to do at the moment. Oh right, leave Hidden Tiger City in half a month. Ling Han's heart skipped a beat. What would happen in Hidden Tiger City in half a month? Previously, Xie de Yuan had said that even if he returned to Hidden Tiger City, he would not be able to escape death. Now, the little old man had revealed the same meaning. What kind of disaster would befall Hidden Tiger City? No matter where he hid in the city, it would not be safe. He did not ask. Obviously, the little old man would not tell him. He was far from being trusted. All right, I'm leaving. Work hard and strive to become an alchemy grandmaster before the age of 30. That way, you can become the Lord's left and right arms. Your future is limitless. The little old man nodded at Ling Han and opened the door to leave. Oh right, you feel a little pain at midnight every day. This is a normal effect of the medicine. It won't take your life. Ling Han hurriedly chased after him. However, when he rushed out of the door, he could not see any trace of the little old man. This old man is at least an expert of the ultimate bone realm. The feeling he gives me is that he is completely invincible, far surpassing Xie de Yuan. Ling Han muttered. Am I lucky or unlucky? If he was unlucky, then he would have been killed by the little old man long ago. Thus, he was still lucky. He had come to be certified as a high-grade alchemist by sudden inspiration. Only then did the little old man see his value. The most important thing now is to cure the poison. Ling Han raised his hand. There was a bit of medicinal paste between his fingernails. He had dug it out before taking the pill. He did not dare to dig too much, afraid that the little old man would find out. Also, I have to remind Lian Shuerong. I suffered such a big loss just now because I was not strong enough. Otherwise, I could teach this old man a lesson. Hey! Ling Han started. He suddenly realized that he had sensed the 8th hidden meridian. That was fine too. He really did not know whether to thank the little old man or curse him. The pressure that the little old man gave him allowed him to gain enlightenment. Breakthrough first. He set up a spirit-gathering formation and opened up the last meridian. Half a day later, the 8th hidden meridian was also opened up. Come, nouveau riche formation. Ling Han called for the little female attendant. He did not want to waste it. Another half a day later, the 8th hidden meridian had been opened up to the limit. He had finally reached the end of the illuminating meridian realm. However, Is 20 meridians really the limit of the illuminating meridian? Ling Han murmured. Obviously, Tuoba Tianhuang will also reach 20 meridians. In that case, even if I have the advantage in the width of my meridians and the speed at which my secret power flows, compared to him, my advantage is not that great. Moreover, there should be many geniuses like Tuoba Tianhuang. Perhaps there will be someone like me. I do not believe that the peak of the illuminating meridian realm is the limit or the limit. Ling Han clenched his fists tightly. I want to become the strongest. Other than the 12 main meridians and the 8 extraordinary meridians, are there any other meridians in the human body? From my experience in the Yuan world, there are countless small meridians in the human body. Although the amount of secret power that can be stored is limited, many a little makes a mickle. When added together, it cannot be ignored. Alright, this is my direction. Ling Han let the little female attendant continue to cultivate in the formation while he went to the black-green flag and warned the little old man again. He did not say too much. Since the little old man was so confident, he believed that not many people could cure the poison of the soul-separating pill. Therefore, it was useless to tell Lian Shuerong. Half a month. Lian Shuerong nodded. I will inform the other 3 flags and pay attention to any movements. Ling Han did not think much of it. The little old man's tone was too certain. He was not arrogant but had a card up his sleeve. Let's see how it goes. I will take care of myself first and make preparations. If it really cannot be done, I will call Sect Master Sun and Huanxue to leave together. Reading on the phone was more refreshing. Chapter 32-24. A Good Romance. BQG 6. CC. I have some confidence in the formula for the detoxification. Now, I need to collect the medicinal ingredients and refine the pill. I will only know if it is useful after I take it. Every night when the medicine takes effect, there will be a heart-wrenching pain. It is really uncomfortable. Ling Han set out to get the formula, but even though the Alchemist Guild's storeroom was open to him, he did not have all the ingredients he needed. I'm missing a total of 8. They are either extremely precious and priceless, or extremely difficult to harvest and not very useful. The price-performance ratio is too low, and no one is willing to go to such dangerous places to harvest them. I can only do it myself. If it is the closest to me, well, there might be 9 flame grass in the Great Green Mountain. The 9 flame grass was what he lacked. There are still 8 days before the half-month deadline that the little old man said. I can go to the Great Green Mountain first. Ling Han thought for a while and decided to go to the Great Green Mountain. Because the members of the 7th Squad were either dead or injured, they would not go on a mission for the time being. Everyone was on vacation, so Ling Han was quite free. He also decided that after the crisis in Hidden Tiger City was over, he would resign from his position as vice captain and focus on cultivation. After thinking for a while, Ling Han decided to take Huanxue with him. Hu Xiao might not give up. Although the little servant girl was safe in the Alchemist Guild, she could not always stay there and not go out. He might as well take Huanxue for a walk. Ling Han asked Huanxue to get ready, and then he saw the little servant girl carrying a huge bag, like a thief returning with a full load. He used to look like this too. Ling Han could not help but grit his teeth. How shameful. The 2 of them set off. After leaving the city, they headed east. The Great Green Mountain was very close to Hidden Tiger City, about 200 miles away in a straight line. However, the road was really not easy to travel. There were too many potholes, and from time to time, big rivers appeared. It was impossible to drive there. Fortunately, Huanxue had reached 10 meridians, and carrying the huge bag was still easy. A few hours later, they arrived at Mount Daking. The Great Green Mountain was primitive and rough, but there weren't any powerful demonic beasts here. This was because the 4 banners would sweep through the area from time to time, so it was basically impossible for demonic beasts above 10 meridians to exist. Of course, there were also extremely dangerous places in the Great Green Mountain that even extreme Bone Realm experts wouldn't venture deep into. But as long as one didn't go there naturally wouldn't be any danger. Let's go, Ling Han said. Oh. The little maid nodded and hurriedly followed. The 9 Flames grass was located halfway up Mount Daking. From this height, it was already extremely dangerous. Of course, Ling Han went straight to his destination. However, the Great Green Mountain was huge, really huge. Moreover, the mountain path was unusually difficult to traverse. It would take at least 1 day and 1 night to reach it. Ling Han paused. "What's wrong, young master?" asked Huanxue blankly. "There are sounds of fighting," Ling Han said. "Let's go and take a look." "Oh." Huanxue nodded. She would do whatever Ling Han said anyway. Ling Han led the way in front. Very quickly, Huanxue also heard the sounds. Even without Ling Han leading the way, she could still find the right direction. They passed through the dense forest and an empty space appeared in front of them. A battle was currently taking place in the middle of the empty space. 5 young men and women were surrounding a demonic beast. This demonic beast was a 9-toed wolf. Its strength was completely written on its body. For every meridian power increase, it would gain another toe. Now that this demonic wolf had 9 toes, it meant that it was at the 9th meridian realm. Under normal circumstances, demonic beasts were stronger than human practitioners of the same realm because they had innate advantages. For example, they were faster and stronger. Furthermore, they had powerful defensive abilities. Therefore, usually, 2 or 3 people had to team up to fight against a demonic beast to have a chance of victory. However, this time, only 2 of the 5 young men and women had reached the 9th meridian realm, while the other 3 had reached the 8th meridian realm. Thus, even when the 5 of them joined forces, they were still evenly matched against this demonic wolf. The situation was extremely dangerous. "Stay calm. Don't panic. We have the upper hand. We will definitely win." Among the 5, a slightly older man said, stabilizing the morale of the group. He was actually quite young, 16 or 17 years old at most. Indeed, as long as they could stabilize the situation, they had at least an 80% chance of victory. The other 4 young men and women nodded. Under the control of the youth, the situation gradually stabilized. However, at this moment, a sudden change occurred. The demonic wolf's entire body shone with white light and emitted a powerful aura. "Oh no, this demonic beast is mutating. It's about to advance to the 10th meridian realm," the slightly older youth exclaimed and hurriedly said, "Everyone, retreat." They did not fear a 9-meridian demonic beast, but once it advanced to the 10th meridian, it would be able to release its power externally. The increase in battle strength would not be insignificant. They wanted to retreat, but the demonic beast had been surrounded for so long and had sustained serious injuries. Given the ferocity of a wild beast, how could it let them leave? It jumped about as if it was flying, and the mutation continued. On its 4 legs, the 10th toe was growing. Even if it reached the 10th meridian realm, there would not be a huge increase in strength immediately. However, it could release its power externally. That was the biggest change. The 5 young men and women were pale with fright. How could they have imagined that this 9-meridian demonic beast would actually break through at such a critical moment? Their luck was just too bad. "Summon Snow, go help," Ling Han said. At the very least, he was the vice-captain of the Black-Green Banner. Of course, he couldn't just stand by and watch. "Yes," the little attendant replied and immediately scuttled out. Ling Han was speechless. This girl was really a bit dumb. Why did she have to carry her luggage when she was going to fight? Bam! Summon Snow had already attacked. She punched out, releasing her power externally. She threw a terrifying punch. Influenced by Ling Han, she was also more inclined to use her fists. The 5 young men and women were all dumbfounded. What had they just seen? A beauty carrying an enormous luggage appeared and then threw a punch at the demonic beast. Before they could react, they saw a bang and the demonic beast was sent flying. Releasing power externally, a 10-meridian expert. Yaya. Summon Snow attacked repeatedly at the demonic wolf. The demonic wolf had only just advanced to the 10th step. The only difference between it and a 9-meridian expert was that it could release its power externally. How could it be a match for Summon Snow who had advanced for more than 10 steps? Very quickly, its spine was broken by a punch and it became a dead wolf. "Thank you for your help, miss," The 5 hurriedly expressed their thanks. Although summoned snow had already reached the 10th meridian realm, she could not change her attitude as a little attendant. She hurriedly bowed in return. Immediately, the enormous luggage completely covered her. Her appearance was a bit funny. Linghan walked out and said, "Let's go." "Who are you?" A youth immediately jumped out and pointed at Linghan. "What right do you have to give orders?" "That's my young master," Summoned Snow said weakly. "Chem." The 5 looked at Linghan and then at Summoned Snow. They all shook their heads, not believing him no matter what. Phone reading is more refreshing. Chapter 32-25. A Good Romance. BQG 6. Linghan smiled faintly, and said, "I saved your lives, and this is how you repay me." "Bah, we were saved by this lady," one of the youths immediately said. "Yes." The other 4 nodded. They weren't very old. The older one was only 16 or 17, and the other 4 were even younger, at most 15 or 16. They worshipped heroes the most at this age. Huanxue had saved them from the jaws of a tiger, so she was like a god in their eyes. How could they accept that such a god had a master? The 3 youths especially looked at Huanxue with adoration. It was even more impossible for them to accept reality. "But I'm really young master's maid." Huanxue nodded vigorously. These people were so strange. After repeated reminders, these people finally accepted reality, but they became even angrier. "You're too despicable. You actually made Miss Huanxue do such rough work," they criticized. "Look at how many things Huanxue was carrying. You're abusing her. Name a price. How much do you want to let Miss Huanxue redeem her?" Huanxue immediately shook her head like a rattle drum. "Young master didn't abuse me, and I don't want to leave him." She was really afraid of these self-righteous youths. She quickly said to Linghan, "Young master, let's run." Linghan couldn't help but laugh, but he nodded and said, "Okay." The 2 of them ran at lightning speed. How could the 5 youths catch up? They only ran a few steps before stopping. "We can't just watch Miss Huanxue fall into a tiger's mouth. They must be from Hidden Tiger City. We must investigate when we get back. We must find out everything about that man. Save Miss Huanxue." The 5 youths' fighting spirit was ignited. They immediately had a goal to strive for in their boring lives. After running for some distance, Linghan said, "All right, there's no need to run anymore. These people aren't chasing us." Huanxue panted. "Young master, those people are too scary." They actually wanted her to leave him. They were all bad people. Linghan laughed. "Let's rest for a bit. We'll continue on our way." Soon, they continued on their way. The road in the mountains was very difficult to walk on. When the sky turned dark, they were still less than half of the way to their destination. Due to the towering trees, this place would be pitch black at night. It would be an exaggeration to say that one wouldn't be able to see their fingers in front of them, but it wasn't much better. The 2 of them stopped and prepared to eat something before continuing their journey the next morning. Fortunately, they were right next to a rabbit nest, and Huanxue caught 2 fat and big rabbits. The little maid happily lit the fire and washed the rabbit with clean water. Then, she began to prepare dinner. Soon, the roasted rabbit emitted a fragrant aroma. The meat turned golden and sizzled with fat. Linghan's fingers twitched. Summoning Snow's craftsmanship was indeed not bad. Rustle, rustle, rustle. At this moment, the grass in front of them suddenly shook. Linghan stood up. Some wild beast was about to appear. But after waiting for a while, there was no response. He sat down again, shivering, and the grass moved again. "Are you kidding me?" Linghan suddenly burst forth with strength and pounced toward that place. He raised his fist and punched. Peng, he punched out. He now had the strength of 1,000,000 kilograms. When he punched out, it was as if a hurricane had swept up, raising the area of a zhong or so where his fist landed to the ground. There was nothing. Linghan was surprised. He only saw green grass flying in the air. There was nothing else. What was going on? "Young master." Huanxue hurriedly jumped over. Linghan shook his head, turned around, and was about to go back, but his gaze was fixed. The rabbit that was being roasted on the fire was gone. Gone. Of course, meat wouldn't run away on its own for no reason. So, it was either taken by someone or by a demonic beast. But whether it was a human or a beast, its strength was quite extraordinary. What a cute pig, the little maid suddenly exclaimed. Yes. Ling Han followed the little maid's gaze and saw a little pink pig the size of a cat twisting its butt as it walked over. This little pig was really fat. It was round and pink all over, and its tail was thin and short. If it were a big fat pig, perhaps some people would feel disgusted. But this little pink pig only made people feel that it was cute. At least Huanxue had already fallen. She immediately hugged the little pink pig, and her eyes turned into stars. Ling Han looked at it, and saliva formed in his mouth. He was just hungry, and a little pink pig had delivered itself to his door. This was heaven's will. It was as if the little pink pig had sensed Ling Han's gaze. It raised its head and squeaked at Ling Han. Then, it stuffed its head into Huanshue's chest, looking as if it had been frightened. F***ck, this guy had become a spirit. After mocking him, it actually took the opportunity to take advantage of Huanxue. You can do it. Ling Han wanted to butcher this little pink pig even more. Yes, he would make it into a roast suckling pig. Young master, don't eat it, okay? This little pig is so pitiful, Huanxue pleaded with Ling Han, tears glistening in her eyes. Ling Han sighed and said, fine, I won't eat it. Huanxue immediately smiled and hugged the little pink pig. Her maternal instincts were overflowing, and she couldn't control them anymore. Ling Han looked at the little pig, and the little pink pig would occasionally glance at him, full of pride. F***ck, a pig could actually be so human-like. Ling Han hadn't forgotten that the 2 roast rabbits disappeared for no reason. Now, it seemed that the culprit was this pig. This guy made a feint first, luring the tiger away from the mountain. Then, it took the opportunity to steal the 2 roast rabbits. After eating them, it appeared with a pitiful appearance, causing the little maid's maternal instincts to overflow. Yes, in terms of intelligence, this pig wasn't stupid at all. What Ling Han cared about was, how could this pig's speed be so fast? Huanxue, let me take a look at this pig, he said. Oh. Huanxue was a little reluctant, but she still handed the little pink pig to Ling Han. Gu. The little pink pig squeaked like a pig being slaughtered, and hid in Huanxue's arms. Ling Han grabbed the little pink pig and looked left and right, but he didn't find anything special about this pig. This wasn't a demonic beast at all, and it didn't seem to have any strength. This was very strange. If it was really an ordinary pig, how could it survive in Mount Daking? Could it rely on acting cute to survive when it encountered a powerful carnivore or demonic beast? If it wasn't for the little maid, Ling Han really wanted to bleed this little fat pig and study it. However, Huanxue was looking at him with a pitiful gaze, which made Ling Han feel like there was a thorn in his back. Forget it, I won't do it for now. Ling Han returned the little pink pig to Huanxue, and the little fat pig immediately burrowed into Huanxue's arms, looking like a little pig that was scared. What the hell? Reading on the phone is more refreshing. Chapter 32-26. A Good Romance. BQG 6. Ling Han walked around and quickly caught another goat. He handed it over to Summon Snow to handle. Before long, the fragrance wafted over again. Ling Han's appetite was piqued. He immediately tore off a piece and ate it. The little pink pig also whimpered and opened its mouth, looking like it wanted to eat. Summon Snow gently fed the little pink pig. Although the pig wasn't big, its appetite was astonishing. It ate mouthful after mouthful of meat as if it couldn't be full. Its belly was very fat and round, but no matter how much meat it ate, its belly didn't bulge. It was like a bottomless pit. Delicious and lecherous. In a short period of time, Ling Han had already discovered 2 characteristics of this pig. In summary, this pig was a good-for-nothing. The goat was quickly divided up. Ling Han ate nearly half of it, and the little pink pig also ate about half. The rest was finished by the little servant girl. This pig was indeed a foodie. At night, Summon Snow was afraid that the little pink pig would freeze, so she stuffed it into her chest. The pig was so happy that its eyes were shining. In the middle of the night, as expected, the pig began to snore. He really wanted to kill it. The next day, Ling Han and Summoned Snow continued on their way to the waist of the mountain. There weren't any formations here to suppress them, but the natural mountains and rivers were dangerous. It was also difficult to advance. Moreover, there were powerful demonic beasts here. There were many, at least 10 meridians, and there were even some at the blood transformation realm. There was no other way. The terrain here was too dangerous. It was difficult for the 4 banners to enter. How could a true expert come here? Therefore, there were no traces of people here. However, the existence of 9 flame grass here was only a legend. As early as 20 years ago, when Hidden Tiger City had just been established, a large number of experts had been sent to sweep the surrounding area. Someone had found 9 flame grass here. It had been more than 20 years. Who knew if there were any 9 flame grass left? It might have gone extinct due to the great changes in the environment. This place was too big. Although Ling Han and Summoned Snow tried their best to find it, it would take at least half a month to go around this area. It was too long. Cuckoo, the little pink pig cried out. What? Ling Han glared at him. This kind of lecherous pig should be slaughtered and made into roast suckling pig. It's hungry, Cool Snow said in a low voice. In just 1 or 2 days, she was already very familiar with little suckling pig. No, little pink pig. Eat, eat, eat. All you know is to eat. Ling Han wiped his mouth. Why don't we butcher it and eat a roast suckling pig? No, no. Summoned Snow hurriedly shook her head. Little pink pig also glared at Ling Han angrily and howled as if it was facing an enemy of the same class. You only know how to eat and how to be lecherous. If you don't eat, what else can you do? Ling Han said. Woo, woo, the little pink pig barked at Ling Han, as if it could understand human language. This pig was indeed interesting. Little piggy, you must prove that you are useful. Young master doesn't like useless things. The little maid rubbed the little pink pig's head and said earnestly. The little pink pig was hurt. It wasn't a thing. It raised its head proudly and looked as if it could do anything. Hey, little piggy, can you really do things? Cool Snow asked in surprise. Gu. Little pink pig nodded vigorously. Damn, this pig had really become a spirit. Little piggy, young master is looking for 9 flame grass. Do you know where I can find it? Cool Snow asked. Little pink pig revealed a thoughtful expression. After a while, it cried out and jumped out of Cool Snow's arms, running in a certain direction. Hey, this fellow really did know where 9 flame grass was. Ling Han and Cool Snow followed, but they only walked a few steps before they saw that the little pink pig had stopped moving. Its limbs were spread out, and it was lying on the ground. What is it doing now? Ling Han asked. It's tired, Cool Snow explained. It's tired? Ling Han looked at the distance that the dead pig had walked. It couldn't have been more than 300 jong. Damn, it was already tired. What a lazy pig. Let me carry you. Cool Snow picked up the little pink pig. Gu. Little pink pig let out a comfortable cry and rubbed its fat head against Cool Snow's chest. Its lecherous appearance made Ling Han want to beat it up. However, this lazy pig wasn't completely irresponsible. It extended its fat hoof and pointed forward. Cool Snow carried it and walked, while Ling Han followed behind. The damn fat pig didn't just blindly point forward. Sometimes it pointed to the left, and sometimes it pointed to the right. The road was extremely difficult to walk. After about 2 hours, the fat pig finally stopped making any more sounds. Hey! Ling Han was startled. A blade of grass had appeared in front of them. It was about 1 foot long and completely scarlet red. Moreover, there was a large area around it that didn't have any weeds growing. 9 flame grass. The 9 flame grass had a very special characteristic, and that was that no matter how tall it grew, no other grass or trees would grow in the area where it was 9 times its height. This was because in such an area, the ground would be scarlet red, and nothing else could grow. This damn fat pig really did find 9 flame grass. Apart from being able to eat, sleep, and be lazy, it could actually do something useful. At least it's somewhat useful. I didn't eat my food for nothing. Ling Han nodded. He picked up the 9 flame grass and put it into his luggage. Let's go back. He smiled slightly. This time's operation had gone surprisingly smoothly. In just one trip, he had already found 9 flame grass. What breed is this pig? It's pretty capable. Ling Han smiled and reached out to grab the fat pig. Woo! The perverted pig let out a squeal and burrowed into Call Snow's chest. But how big was the chest? How could it possibly hide? It was caught by Ling Han. The perverted pig continuously sprayed saliva at Ling Han. Although it was small, the amount of saliva it spat out was extremely shocking. It was like a torrential downpour. Ling Han wasn't on guard and was immediately sprayed all over his face. F***ck, you damned pig, I'm going to kill you. Ling Han was enraged, and his fist shot out. Gu. The little pink pig hurriedly struggled, but how could it possibly struggle free? Ling Han's punch landed squarely on it. However, this pig's guts weren't small. Not only did it not cower, its saliva actually grew even fiercer. Bang, bang, bang. Ling Han repeatedly punched. The little pig was also constantly spitting saliva. In the end, Ling Han stopped. He tossed the pig to Call Snow, a look of shock on his face. At the start, he hadn't used much strength. But in the later few punches, he had increased his strength a bit. But when his punches landed on the pig's body, it was like he was punching cotton. He had been constantly increasing his strength, but he was unable to injure the pig in the slightest. Strange, extremely strange. No wonder this fellow was able to live so comfortably in Mount Daking despite being so fat. It hadn't been eaten by any wild beast. Even a blood transformation realm demonic beast wouldn't be able to do anything to it. Perverted pig, I really did underestimate you. Reading on the phone. Chapter 32-28. A Good Romance. BQG 6. Ling Han was surprised, because there was a row of stairs in front of him. They were made of high-quality jade and emitted a gentle glow. There were no stairs at the bottom of the mountain, but there were only stairs halfway up the mountain. It didn't make sense. Ling Han looked up and could vaguely see some buildings in front of him, but he couldn't see them clearly. Were those buildings left behind by the previous civilization? After the great changes, the Earth's surface was broken open, allowing many ancient buildings to see the light of day. Thus, this mountain used to be underground, and it might have emerged not long ago. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to find old ginsengs that were 500 or 600 years old. Historical sites usually represented fortuitous encounters. Ling Han felt that martial art was just the beginning, and this judgment came from the pills. Even if he was the alchemy emperor, and was extremely sensitive to the alchemy Tao, he shouldn't be able to refine a pill with just a glance, and succeed on his first try. There was only one explanation, and that was that the pill recipe was too low level. That was why he could learn it with just a glance, and quickly make improvements. And who were these pills for? Of course it was for the current martial artists, whether they were at the illuminating pulse, blood transformation, or ultimate bone realms. Thus, Ling Han could deduce that the current level of martial art was also very, very low. The lower the level of martial art, the faster the speed of improvement. For example, Ling Han could use the Nouveau Riche array to complete 1 meridian of cultivation in half a day. This was unimaginable in the higher realms. Then, if he could find a high-level historical site from the previous civilization, he might be able to immediately become a powerhouse above the ultimate bone realm. Most importantly, his spiritual energy would increase, and he would be able to reunite with his family. His heart thumping, he took a step forward and stepped onto the stairs. Whang, a huge force rebounded. Peng, Ling Han's entire body instantly fell backwards, landing solidly on the ground. Gulp, gulp, gulp. The little pink pig laughed so hard that it was rocking back and forth, its 4 short little legs kicking wildly. It was simply insane. I've decided, I'll eat the roasted suckling pig now, Ling Han said fiercely. The little pink pig wasn't afraid of him at all, and looked him in the eye. Ling Han chuckled. You think I can't do anything to you just because you can take a beating? Little Pink Pig revealed a puzzled expression. What else can you do? Ling Han grabbed the Little Pink Pig by its tail and lifted it upside down. Gu. The Little Pink Pig immediately cried out miserably. Its head was on the ground and its feet were on the ground. It was very easy for blood to rush to the head. Ling Han tried to climb the stairs again, but he was still bounced back, and he fell hard on the ground along with the pig. Forget it, I won't take the direct path. Ling Han avoided the steps and walked to the side. There was no road here, and the mountain rocks were rugged. Coupled with the huge pressure, it was not easy to walk. But at least there was no rebound force from under one's feet, so it was still possible to climb up. It was just that the speed would be slower. Ling Han slowly walked up the mountain. After a few steps, he would stop to catch his breath. The pressure was really terrifying, but he had walked all the way from the Yuan world, so what was a little more pressure? Even the Little Pink Pig was moved. This human that it had looked down on was actually so tenacious. Reaching the peak of martial art required talent, but in fact, tenacious willpower was even more important. There had been news of top geniuses dying on the way. Most of the reasons were because they weren't tenacious enough and couldn't grit their teeth and endure. It seemed that it had underestimated this ugly human. After half a day, Ling Han finally saw the building in front of him. He was surprised. This was indeed a building complex that belonged to a certain force from the previous civilization. But now, most of the houses had been destroyed, and there were even corpses on the ground. They had long been weathered into bones, but the clothes on their bodies were still there. It was very strange. At this point, the pressure was even greater. Ling Han really couldn't go any further. He observed carefully, looking for the source of the pressure. Gu. The Little Pink Pig suddenly pointed in a direction. Ling Han looked over, but he didn't see anything. Perverted pig, what do you want me to see? Pa, the Little Pink Pig gave him a slap, and Ling Han's eyes immediately became clear. He saw that, in an extremely far place, there was a deep sword mark. It was this sword mark that emitted a terrifying baleful aura, forming a pressure that enveloped the entire mountain top. Wait, why do I know this is a sword mark? A doubt flashed across Ling Han's mind. It was just a thick mark. Sabers, spears, swords, and even palms could make it. Why was he so sure that it was a sword mark? He looked at the Little Pink Pig. It was the Little Pink Pig who let him see that scene, so it was very likely that this was the Little Pink Pig's own judgment. Perverted pig, how many secrets are you hiding? Ling Han picked up the Little Pink Pig. Gu. The Little Pink Pig didn't even look at him, but it immediately paid the price. Ling Han threw it away. Ling Han looked at the mountain again and murmured, "It's impossible to go up, but can I find something good around here?" He couldn't enter this huge building complex, so he could only walk around it. Not long after, he found a broken sword. It was very close to him, about 6 meters away, and it wasn't on the path paved with jade. Could he succeed? He tried to walk forward, but after 2 steps, he felt a salty taste in his throat, and a mouthful of blood sprayed out. No, if he continued, he would be courting death. Ling Han retreated, and the Little Pink Pig looked at him with disdain, as if saying, "Come and beg Uncle Pig." Pa. Ling Han tried to use tree branches and other things to pull the sword back, but it was useless. Anything that came close to the sword would immediately shatter. Was there really no other way? Could he only beg that perverted pig? Gu. The Little Pink Pig was arrogant, as if it was certain that it could defeat Ling Han. Ling Han's heart skipped a beat, and he released his psychic energy. At his level, psychic energy could only control formation patterns. In terms of strength, it could at most lift a few books. However, this should be enough to drag the sword back. Ling Han immediately released his psychic energy, which was not affected by the pressure. He immediately wrapped it around the hilt of the sword, and then turned it into a hand, pulling hard. Clang, the broken sword made a sound, and moved a little in his direction. What was going on? The Little Pink Pig revealed a surprised expression. It looked at Ling Han, and suddenly understood. Psychic energy. This human had actually cultivated psychic energy at the illuminating pulse realm. Chimph. Interesting. Seeing that it was feasible, Ling Han's confidence soared. He hooked with his psychic energy again, and clang, the broken sword moved a little in his direction. Clang, clang, clang. The broken sword could only move a few inches at a time, but as time went by, it was getting closer and closer to Ling Han. Half an hour later, it was already under Ling Han's feet. Success. Phone reading is more refreshing. Chapter 32-29. A Good Romance. BQG 6. Ciccio, the little pig suddenly dashed out, opened its mouth, and bit the broken handle. Then it ran away. After running a few steps, it even turned around and flashed a smile at Ling Han. It was as if it was saying, "Come and chase me." Ling Han didn't care at all. Instead, he crossed his arms in front of his chest. The little pig was furious and continued to run. But after a few steps, it started to pant and lay on the ground. It couldn't run anymore. Ling Han walked over and easily took the broken sword from the little pig's mouth. "Lazy pig, you're so weak." The little pig was inexplicably sad and indignant. Ling Han looked at the broken sword carefully. There were many patterns on the sword. They were similar to the formation patterns he had learned, but they were much more complicated. Strictly speaking, they were more similar to the formation in the ancient Tao sect. He had dug out 3 formation bases and studied them carefully. Could it still be used? Ling Han tried to cut the stone with the broken sword. What happened next shocked him. The broken sword was extremely sharp. With one cut, the stone was cut open like tofu. Just from this point, it is a treasure. The body of a blood transformation realm expert is tempered by a secret force. Their physique is very strong, and they can even ignore hot weapons. But if you are cut by this sword, I guarantee that your bones will be broken immediately. Wait, there are things like formation patterns on it. Can they be activated? If they can, then what should I do? I don't know if they are formation patterns or something else. No, during a battle, the situation can change in an instant. One thought can decide life and death. How can you have time to slowly activate the formation patterns? Ling Han's eyes lit up. Telekinesis. He once again sent his telekinesis into the sword, but the broken sword didn't react at all. It's not that there's no reaction, but my telekinesis is too weak. I need to strengthen it a bit more. Ling Han continued to strengthen his telekinesis, but when he completely poured out his spiritual force, a symbol on the broken sword lit up slightly. Xiao, a visible green sword chi was shot out. Bang, bang, bang. As the sword chi swept across, the stones in its path crumbled one after another. Only when the sword chi reached a radius of 10 feet did it disappear. Damn, how fierce! Ling Han exclaimed. Even though he now had the strength of 1,000,000 kilograms, the distance he could release his strength was still only 30 feet. However, the sword chi from this broken sword could reach a distance of 30 feet. Its power was even more terrifying. I've picked up a treasure. I've really picked up a treasure. Ling Han revealed a happy smile. He had only activated one symbol. There were still 4 complete symbols on the broken sword. If he could activate all of them, how powerful would the broken sword be? The little pink pig revealed a look of disdain. It was just a broken sword. What was there to be proud of? It was as if it had obtained a treasure. Perverted pig, if you dare to spit at me again, I'll really have to kill you and make a feast out of you. Ling Han waved the broken sword. Little pink pig showed a look of disdain, as if Lord Pig didn't care at all. Damn, why is this pig's expression so disgusting? Could it be that its defense was so thick that even the broken sword couldn't do anything to it? Ling Han used the sword to lightly cut the little pink pig's body. As expected, the pig's skin seemed to be slippery. The broken sword didn't cause any damage to it. He activated his telekinesis again and released sword chi. The little pink pig was hit by the sword chi and flipped over a few times, but it still didn't break. This time, Ling Han was really shocked. He was sure that the destructive power of the broken sword was at least at the level of the 5 changes of blood transformation, or even the extreme bone realm. However, it couldn't even cut off a single hair of this perverted pig. It was obvious how amazing this pig was. What kind of breed are you? Ling Han picked up the pig, full of curiosity. Its defense was so amazing, but its combat power was only at the level of 5. It would be out of breath after running a few steps, and only knew how to eat and lust. With so many characteristics added together, Ling Han couldn't imagine such an existence. The little pink pig spat at Ling Han. He actually dared to hit Lord Pig until he became a rolling calf. This was too despicable. Ling Han picked up the little pink pig and went down the mountain. If he let this perverted pig enter the building complex, it could probably find more treasures. However, the problem was, with this guy's laziness, would it be willing to take anything out? Even if it was very diligent, with its current relationship with Ling Han, would it be willing to go? The answer was obviously no. Ling Han wasn't in a hurry. Martial art was just beginning to flourish, and there were countless historical sites from the previous civilization. There would be plenty of opportunities in the future. Not to mention, there was a historical site from the previous civilization in the depths of the ancient Dao sect's ancient dragon mine. It was difficult to go up the mountain, but it was easy to go down. He quickly met the little servant girl, and the two of them continued down the mountain, returning to Tiger Hidden City. The perverted pig also followed them. It nested in Huanshue's arms and refused to leave. All right, perhaps this pig would be of use. After entering the city, the pig's eyes immediately lit up. There were young women everywhere, both handsome and unhandsome. This made the pig feel like it had been injected with chicken blood, and it constantly let out pig-like cries. It was simply too embarrassing. Miss Huanxue. Not long after they entered the city, they saw 5 young men and women chasing after them. It was the group of 5 that Huanxue had saved from Mount Daking. Huanxue held the little pink pig and was very cautious. These 5 people were so terrifying, they actually wanted her to leave her young master. The little pink pig had its eyes on the 2 girls. While Huanxue wasn't paying attention, it made a jailbreak and pounced at one of the girls. However, it seemed to have forgotten that its 4 short legs only had a little bit of explosive power. Halfway through its pounce, its body slid down and fell heavily to the ground. Wow, what a cute piglet. When the 2 girls saw it, their eyes immediately lit up. It had to be said that the little pink pig's appearance was very alluring. Ling Han grabbed the perverted pig back and said, "Why is it the 5 of you again?" "H, we're going to save Miss Huanxue," said the 5 of them at the same time. "Let's go back and play in the mud." Ling Han led the way. "Don't even think about leaving." The 5 of them immediately surrounded him. Ling Han gave a light push, and with the release of force, the 5 people instantly fell to the ground, but they were not injured. He walked away with large steps. Huanxue hurriedly followed. She also wanted to get as far away from the 5 of them as possible. "What do we do?" asked one of the youths. "First follow them and see where they live. Then we can go get reinforcements," said the older youth. "All right." The 5 of them sneakily followed behind Ling Han and Huanxue. They quickly arrived at the Alchemist Guild. "Hey, why is it here? Could it be that that repulsive fellow is an alchemist? Even if he's an alchemist, he can't allow Miss Huanxue to fall into his clutches. Let's go get reinforcements. Phone reading is more refreshing." Chapter 3230. A Good Romance. BQG 6. Ling Han returned to his residence and carefully put away the 9 flame grass and yellow ginseng. He could only use them in the future, so he had to put them away properly to prevent the medicinal effects from being lost. Call Snow was very happy with the pig, and Ling Han couldn't be bothered to care about it. He went into seclusion and prepared to break through to the blood transformation realm. He obviously knew that breaking through to the next realm was not something that could be done in a short period of time, but he couldn't waste time. There were still 5 days to the deadline the old man had mentioned. What would happen in 5 days? Just wait and see. Ling Han was very confident now. Firstly, his battle strength was comparable to the 2nd and 3rd transformations of the blood transformation realm. Secondly, he still had the broken sword. After activating it, the sword chi could rival the attack of the extreme bone realm. He went into seclusion, searching for the opportunity to break through. A martial art fanatic like him naturally wouldn't waste a single second. Blood transformation was a qualitative leap compared to opening meridians, but it was also extremely difficult to break through. The greatest characteristic of the first transformation was to turn the blood in the body into purple blood. But this was only a representation. The true change was in the essence of life. Because of the drastic change in the essence, the blood would also change. But how to touch upon the qualitative change of the blood transformation realm? No one could explain it clearly. This could only be comprehended by oneself. Like exploring the meridians, no one could give you any guidance or tell you what to do. You could only rely on yourself. Ling Han was naturally confident in himself. There were so many blood transformation realm experts in the world. He had even opened his 100 meridians. How could he not break through to the blood transformation realm? The problem was, how much time did he need? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Time passed quietly, but Ling Han didn't receive any inspiration or enlightenment. He was still stuck at the 20 meridians realm. Of course, his 20 meridians were completely different from the other 20 meridians. There were too many small meridians that had been opened. It wasn't surprising that it was called 100 meridians. Ling Han came out of seclusion. There were only 2 days left before the big day. He couldn't stay in seclusion any longer. He wanted to get something to eat, but he couldn't find cool snow anywhere. This made him feel strange. Where did this girl go? When he didn't see cool snow at night, Ling Han finally felt that something was wrong. He asked around, and cool snow left with a fat little pig in the morning. He left this morning and hasn't come back yet. What happened? Ling Han mobilized the people of the Alchemist Association to search for Summon Snow's whereabouts. Although everyone in the Alchemist Society specialized in alchemy, every alchemist had an extremely wide network of connections. There was nothing that could be done about it. Everyone loved alchemy, and the status of alchemists was naturally very high. There were many people who would bootlick them. In next to no time, Summon Snow's whereabouts for the entire day were investigated one by one. In the morning, he went to the bun shop and ate 9 steamers. It must be that fat pig who ordered it. The little maid didn't have such a big appetite. Then, they went shopping. At noon, they went to the 4 Ocean Star Hotel and ordered 18 dishes. Pig, how can you eat so much in the afternoon? He continued to shop, but at around 3 o'clock, he suddenly disappeared. Suddenly Ling Han immediately went to the place where Huan Shui had disappeared according to the report. It was a small alley. Ling Han took out the jade-colored toad, and the toad immediately started croaking in the northwest direction. Ling Han leaped into the air and headed in that direction. After walking for a while, he took out the toad again to calibrate the direction. Just like that, half an hour later, he stopped in front of a mansion. Summon Snow was inside. Ling Han didn't think that this was just a building in front of him, and that Summon Snow was still further away. This was because the words "Who residents" were written on the door plaque of this mansion. Who to E. Under the guidance of Zhong Yangbi, this guy discovered Summon Snow's talent in alchemy and immediately wanted to make Summon Snow his 8th concubine. However, he didn't dare to act recklessly because of the power of the benevolent heart medicinal hall. Now, he finally couldn't hold back his claws. Ling Han walked towards the door. When he got close, he saw 2 guards at the door looking at him at the same time and shouting, "Stop." "Hey, Ling Han." One of the guards recognized him. This was the new champion of the martial arts competition, the one who defeated Tuoba Tianhuang. So it's Captain Ling. The other guard cupped his hands towards Ling Han. "Welcome, what can I do for you?" Although Ling Han's talent in martial art was monstrous, his status wasn't high. The main reason was that the news of him becoming a high-rank alchemist hadn't spread yet. Thus, these two could only address Ling Han by his position in the black-green flag. In front of the Hu clan, not to mention the black-green flag's vice-captain, even the captain was nothing, unless Lian Shuarong came. Ling Han said indifferently, "I'm looking for one person." "Ian, I should say 2 people." "May I ask who you're looking for, Captain Ling?" the first guard asked. "My maid, Summon Snow, and your young master Hu Tui," Ling Han said. "Looking for young master Hu Tui?" The first guard shook his head and smiled. How could Captain Ling's maid be in our residence? As for ninth young master, he's about to take a concubine today. He probably won't have time to see Captain Ling taking a concubine. How dare he? Ling Han started walking towards the Hu clan. Stop, the first guard shouted. Seeing that Ling Han didn't have any intention of stopping, he looked at the other guard. The two of them simultaneously raised their hands and swung their sheathed blades at Ling Han. Ling Han casually blocked them. Peng, peng, the two guards immediately fell to the ground, moaning and unable to get up. Of course, this was because he was being lenient. Otherwise, he could have turned the two of them into meat patties with a single strike. Stop, stop, the two guards groaned. This was the only thing they could do right now. Ling Han strode forward. This Hu Tui was really audacious. He even dared to touch his little maid. Hey, why are you here? As he walked, he saw a youth suddenly walk towards him with a surprised expression. Ling Han was also slightly surprised, because this youth was one of the 5 people who insisted on saving Summon Snow. He was from the Hu clan. Why can't I be here? Ling Han smiled. Miss Summon Snow isn't here. Hurry up and leave. The youth repeatedly waved his hand. Wasn't this a blatant lie? Summon Snow's disappearance had something to do with him? Is that so? Ling Han said casually, continuing to walk forward. Hey, 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 why are you like this? The youth blocked his way. Ling Han only gave a light push with his hand, and the young man was pushed to one side. The difference in strength was too great. He continued to walk forward, his speed extremely fast. You want to marry my maid? Did you get my permission? Hey, hey, hey. The youth continued to chase. His willpower was quite tenacious. But although he managed to shake off his pursuers, he couldn't catch up to Ling Han. He could only shout in vain. Very quickly, the Hu clan's servants appeared in front of him. Stop him, hurry up and stop him, the youth hurriedly shouted. Phone reading is more refreshing. Chapter 32-32. A Good Romance. BQG 6. Ling Han was too famous now. Updated quickly. Half of the people in Hidden Tiger City had personally witnessed the battle in the martial arts tournament. Who didn't recognize this monster who had defeated Tuoba Tianhuang? To Hu Xiao, he also knew Ling Han's other identity as Summoning Snow's master. He couldn't understand why a martial artist, a beauty who was even more likely to become an alchemist or formation master, would be willing to be a servant. No matter where she was, Summoning Snow would be the center of attention. Why would she be Ling Han's servant? However, to Hu Xiao, Ling Han was only a vice-captain of the Black-Green Banner who could fight. Compared to the Hu family, he was far too lacking. Thus, he had always wanted to make a move on Summoning Snow, but he didn't dare to forcefully take her because of the merciful medicinal hall. Unexpectedly, Little 19 had given him a pleasant surprise and asked him to save Summoning Snow from the fire pit. More importantly, she really did leave the merciful medicinal hall. He ran over and saw Summoning Snow walking a dog, no, a pig. He immediately snatched her back and prepared to get married that night, making Summoning Snow his 8th concubine. Now that the uncooked rice had become cooked rice, he would just have to compensate Ling Han a bit of money. The Hu family didn't lack money. But what he hadn't expected was that Ling Han would actually come to the Hu residence. He had a guilty conscience and couldn't help but take a few steps back. Woo-woo, woo-woo. The bride struggled excitedly, but it was obvious that her hands and feet were bound and she could only walk in small steps. Her head was also covered with a red veil, so her appearance couldn't be seen. It was definitely Summoning Snow. Although she couldn't see Ling Han, she naturally knew from Hu Xiao's words that young master had come to save her. She was incomparably excited. Ling Han pointed at the bride and said, "Take off her veil." "The wedding hasn't started yet, how can we take off the veil?" An elder said. He was an elder of the Hu family, but his cultivation had been stuck at the peak of the Soothing Pulse realm. He hadn't been able to enter the Blood Transformation realm and become the Hu family's 4th elder. However, his attitude was very unyielding. This was the Hu family, No one could be arrogant and do whatever they wanted. Ling Han shook his head and said, "Then only I can do it." "Don't you dare," Hu Xiao hurriedly said. If someone else lifted the bride's veil, would he still have the face to live in the future? Ling Han strode forward. "You stole my maid and forced me to marry you. And you still dare to be so arrogant." He stretched out a hand, and a terrifying energy rippled out. Peng peng peng, and the people in front of him fell to the ground. Hu Chaosheng had already crawled to his feet. With a loud roar, he charged towards Ling Han. Boom! Purple blood qi rose from his body, making him seem as if he had transformed into a great demon. Blood and qi boil. This fellow was going all out, using the special ability of the blood transformation realm. His blood qi surged, and his strength increased by 2 to 3 times. Both of his eyes turned violet, looking incomparably sinister. Ling Han did not dare to be careless. After his blood and qi surged, Hu Chaosheng's strength was almost 500,000 kilograms. He could not underestimate him. He also circulated all the secret energy in his body. The small branches connected all the major meridians, as if he only had one meridian in his body. He punched. Bang! Their fists collided. The energy of the two surpassed the speed of sound, and under the superposition of the sound waves, their energy became visible to the naked eye as they fiercely collided. Ling Han's power transformed into a gigantic fist. The fist's power was incredibly condensed, and it was visible to the naked eye. Hu Chaosheng's power paused for a moment, and then collapsed. Meanwhile, the power of Ling Han's fist only had a few cracks on it, and it continued to crush towards Hu Chaosheng. "What?" Hu Chaosheng cried out in shock, his expression incomparably ugly. Bang! He crossed his arms in front of his chest. Under the pressure of the berserk energy, his body was pushed back, and the tiles laid on the floor of the hall were shoveled up and crushed. Only when he reached the bottom of the hall did he stop. That was because he had smashed into a wall. Bang! The entire hall shook. Everyone's expressions were the same as Hu Chaosheng's, filled with disbelief. The 3 ancestors had already unleashed their full strength, but they were still not Ling Han's match. Was this fellow really in the meridian opening realm? In terms of shock, no one could compare to Hu Chaosheng. That was because only he himself knew just how powerful that attack had been. 900,000 jin, but he had still been forced back by Ling Han's punch. This meant that the other's strength definitely exceeded 1,000,000 jin. Heavens, normally speaking, the average strength of 3 meridians was only 1,000,000 jin. A person at the illuminating pulse realm could actually rival 3 transformations. Then if this fellow advanced into the blood transformation realm, just how terrifying would his strength reach? Ling Han walked past Hu Xiao. This fellow's entire body was trembling, but he did not dare to stop him. He could only watch as Ling Han removed the bride's veil, revealing a pretty face. Who else could it be but Huanxue? However, the little attendant's mouth was now gagged. No wonder she had not made a sound. Her eyes were also red from crying, and she seemed incomparably emotional. Young master had come to save her. Ling Han turned Huanxue around, and saw that the little attendant's hands were tied behind her back. This was a silver chain, made of an unknown material. He pulled with force, and found that he actually could not break the chain. It was really sturdy. Ling Han untied the chain, and then the little attendant pulled out the cloth stuffed in her mouth. Full of grievance and apology, she said, "Huanxue is too useless. I still need young master to save me. This girl." Ling Han chuckled, and said, "This is not Huanxue's fault. It's just that someone is too despicable." Yes, yes, yes. Huanxue nodded incessantly. This person was too despicable. He actually wanted to forcefully marry her. She did not like him at all. And the little pig, she sobbed, was snatched away by them. They said they wanted to make him into roast suckling pig. She looked towards Hu Xiao, and said, "Return my little pig." Ling Han sighed. Just now, his aura was boundless, but with the little attendant's interruption, the entire scene changed. "Don't worry about that damned fat pig. It won't die," he said indifferently. That perverted pig's skin and flesh were so thick that even his broken sword could not cut through it. Who here could hurt it? At this moment, that perverted pig was probably heartlessly throwing itself into the arms of some girl and acting spoiled. Ling Han looked towards Hu Xiao and said indifferently, "What else do you have to say?" He had been caught red-handed, so what else could he say? Hu Xiao snorted and said, "Don't forget, this is the Hu clan." Just like how he had not dared to barge into the benevolent heart medicinal hall, how could the Hu clan be a place that Ling Han could barge into? Although the strongest member of the Hu clan was only at the 4 transformations, he was still a bit more awesome than Mo Guahao. After all, alchemists were subordinate to martial artists. If you trespassed into the Hu clan, no one could save you. Oh, even at this time, you still don't have the slightest hint of repentance. Ling Han shook his head. Then someone like you deserves to die. Mph, barging into my Hu clan, and even threatening to kill, a cold voice rang out. A tall elder also walked out from the inner hall. His gait was majestic, and his chi and blood were astonishing. Reading on the phone was more refreshing. Chapter 32-33. A Good Romance. BQG 6. CC Greetings, Second Patriarch. Immediately, all the members of the Hu clan knelt on the ground. This was the second patriarch of the Hu family, Hu Ronghai. He was also a blood transformation expert, but he had surpassed the first transformation. Second bro, don't be careless. This kid is very strange. His strength is at least 500,000 kilograms, Hu Chaosheng reminded. Hu Ronghai couldn't help being startled. What kind of joke was a meridian opening expert with 1 million pounds of force? The limit of the meridian opening realm was 50,000 kilograms. There were indeed some monstrous geniuses who were able to break through that limit, but they were only able to lift 120,000 kilograms. How is that possible? Could it be that after opening a few hidden meridians, his strength would receive such a terrifying increase? Fuck. Doesn't that mean there's no difference between opening the hidden meridian and entering the blood transformation realm? He naturally did not know that Ling Han had also opened up all the minor meridians in his body, connecting all the major meridians together. Otherwise, the limit of 20 meridians would only be 600,000. And this was still with Ling Han as the standard. The width of his meridians, the speed and purity of his mystical power were far superior to others. Thus, another person who had opened 20 meridians might have a limit of 300,000 pounds of force, or perhaps 500,000 pounds of force. However, would old Third spout nonsense on this kind of matter? Someone at the meridian opening realm can defeat someone at the blood transformation realm. Vice Captain Ling, I really underestimated you, lightly said Hu Ronghai. If his third brother hadn't gone crazy, then other than his own realm, this youth would definitely be on the same level as him. He might even surpass him. But, don't forget, this is the Hu family. His tone suddenly turned severe. Ling Han, did you hear that? This is the Hu family. With 2 blood transformation experts present, Hu Ming's arrogance finally soared. You're crazy. You're fierce. Haha, why would I not dare? So what if I stole your maids? You're just a deputy captain of the black-green flag. Even if I slept with your mother, your sister, and all of them, what can you do to me? His face was full of arrogance. This was the spoiled second generation of an aristocratic family. Ling Han shook his head and waved at Hu Ronghai. Come. What do you mean? Of course, Hu Ronghai would not go over. What face would he have left? He put his hands behind his back and said indifferently, Now, kneel down and beg for mercy, and I can consider giving you a lighter sentence. Ling Han laughed in spite of himself and said, You raised a beast and didn't discipline it properly. You actually want me to kneel and beg for mercy? Haha, what a Hu clan. How dare you? The Hu family members shouted angrily. You, an outsider, came to the Hu residence to disrupt the wedding and even dare to teach them a lesson? If you won't come over, then I'll go over. Ling Han let out a long roar and suddenly leapt up, charging towards Ling Hu Ronghai. He punched out. Boom, a terrifying force shook the area. Brat, the strength of the blood transformation realm isn't just about blood chi boiling, said Hu Ronghai coldly. Wang, the blood chi in his body rose, becoming as black as ink and transforming into a pillar. Second blood transformation, blood qi condensation column. Suddenly, a terrifying pressure pressed down on Ling Han. This was not in terms of strength, but on the spiritual level. Wang, this pressure rushed over, but did not have the slightest effect. What? Hu Ronghai mouthed, but it was already too late, because Ling Han's punch had already reached him. Why was this brat immune to the impact of his baleful aura? He didn't have time to think, and hurriedly raised his hands to block. Bam! It was just one punch, but he was sent flying. And he was in a much worse state than Hu Chaosheng. Both his arms had been forcibly broken, and they drooped down powerlessly. The entire scene was deathly silent. How was it that even the second patriarch was not a match for a single punch from Ling Han? Hu Xiao's entire body was trembling. He had just said a bunch of extremely insulting words to Ling Han, but in the blink of an eye, the second patriarch had collapsed. He felt like he was about to piss his pants. The person who was the most wronged here was definitely Hu Ronghai. He had never imagined that his baleful aura would have no effect on Ling Han at all. And if there was no effect, then there was no effect. The two of them had exchanged blows. Yes, this brat had struck out with 10 times the force of gravity, one more force than him, and was indeed more awesome than him. But how hard were the bones of the blood transformation realm? How could he have shattered his bones? Shattered, not broken. He could feel that the bones of both his arms were crushed like dough. Could such a comminuted fracture still recover? He was too wronged. If he had directly activated his blood qi, then with his 800,000 jin of raw strength, if doubled, he would definitely have surpassed Ling Han. But now, both his arms were crippled, and he was not good at using his legs. His strength could be said to have been crippled. That's right, this brat must have cultivated spiritual power. Otherwise, he would not have been immune to the effects of his baleful aura. His mind would definitely have been shaken. Damn it, how could there be such a monster? Not only was his martial strength heaven-defying, but he had also cultivated spiritual power. How were others supposed to live? Ling Han was also shocked. His punch should have only been able to defeat his opponent. How could it have caused such a terrifying destructive power? Wasn't this very similar to the blow he had used to kill Cha de Yuan? He recalled the process of throwing this punch. It seemed to be no different from a normal punch. Why did it have such an effect? After thinking for a while, his heart suddenly trembled. Could it be, let's find someone to test it out. Everyone, I'm sorry. I was thinking about something, so I was a bit distracted. He smiled at everyone. Everyone couldn't help but ridicule him in their hearts. Why didn't you want to go berserk and die directly? This was blatant mockery. Ling Han looked at Hu Xiao and said lightly, "Say what you just said again." Hu Xiao's entire body trembled. How could he dare to? Was he courting death? Say it. Ling Han raised his voice. Hu Xiao's body trembled, and he hurriedly said, "The Hu clan is a bastard. Everyone from top to bottom is a beast. The old are old beasts, and the young are little beasts." Immediately, everyone in the Hu clan's expression changed. They wanted nothing more than to kill Hu Xiao. You're too spineless. You're just scared to this extent. You don't deserve to be a member of the Hu clan. Do you deserve to die? Ling Han interrupted Hu Xiao's words. Even he found them unbearable. How could there be such a shameless person? Deserve to die, I deserve to die. Hu Xiao hurriedly nodded. If he had known that Ling Han was so powerful, he wouldn't have had any ideas about summoning snow even if he was beaten to death. Then you can go die. Ling Han nodded. Hu Xiao's mouth gaped open. The script shouldn't be like this. I've already tried so hard to beg for mercy, and even scolded my own clan members. Why won't you let me live? If there's a next life, be a good person. Ling Han said lightly, and then punched out. Peng, Hu Xiao's entire body instantly sprayed out a cloud of blood. He couldn't be more dead. What was even more strange was that Hu Xiao's chest, which was the point of impact, had completely caved in. It wasn't the kind where bones were broken, but as if there were no bones at all. As expected. Ling Han nodded. Reading on the phone was more refreshing. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.